No shade, no shade. To Kelly, to Brent Chambers. I'm just moving around this LED bar. If you're just starting out, don't be closed-minded.
Hi, we are here with Underbelly, also known as You Suck at Producing, back in the Bay.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. I guess to kick off, for anyone who doesn't know You Suck at Producing, we can start there.
Yes.
Can you give a little bit of background on what You Suck at Producing is?
Yes. So it's a silly YouTube tutorial channel for teaching people how to suck less at making beats. I use a program called Ableton, and it was very heavily inspired by You Suck at Photoshop. And so I just totally ripped that idea and made it for producing. And that's how it all started.
What is You Suck at Photoshop?
So it was just this guy who was like living in his basement probably and just like went through a divorce or something, and he was like trying to Photoshop like the divorce certificate off the walls and shit like that. So I just thought that was really funny. And I just wanted to sort of copy that self-deprecating humor and deadpanness into the world of producing. And here
Is that
we are.
truly the tutorial? Is how
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, no, that was like YouTube back in like 2013. That was the shit.
Better times.
Yeah.
Better times. Wow. Okay. So you started out that way. I wanted to ask you, sort of, how did you get?
Yeah.
You have all of these characters. You have a really humorous approach to it. Like,
Thank you.
You have Brent Chambers,
Right.
A&R.
A&R.
I love.
A&R.
I don't know all of the characters, but was that sort of where it came from for you?
Yeah, the characters came a little bit later. I was mostly just doing the Underbelly character, which is like a even more cynical, sarcastic version of myself than I usually am. And a lot of it was inspired by like Tim and Eric, like that really absurdist humor. But then over time, like I was just meeting people like, from different parts of the music world. Like, I met a bunch of wooks, and that's kind of what I based my Kelly DJ K-Bump character off of.
That was so accurate.
Yep. And then just like, industry people, and that's kind of what I based Brent Chambers A&R off of. And like also just like really curmudgeon-y like college professors from back in the day, and that's where I based Prance Connors off of Professor Prance Connors. So yeah, and I just have fun with it. So yeah.
I think that one's my favorite.
Thank you.
It makes it a lot
Professor of Jazz Studies at Chico State University.
Also the Bay representation. I'm here for
of course.
I feel like your tutorials really stand out because of that approach. But also I feel like you're uniquely good at breaking things down across levels. How has the learning curve of how to teach people been for you? How has your teaching changed over time?
Yeah, great question. I mean, it started with the YouTube tutorials, so I wasn't teaching actual humans in real life. But towards the end of college, I was like, I need a job. I don't want to get a real job. So I just started to push the channel more and try and do these one-on-one Zoom lessons for production. And at first I had no idea what the I was doing. I didn't know, how to sort of cater the lessons to where people were at, how to break things down live as opposed to in a video. But then I started teaching here in San Francisco at a school called Pyramid, which is all about, in-person big classes. And there I kind of refined the chops, refined the curriculum. A lot of the curriculum I teach in my lessons now is based off of shit I learned there. And so that really helped me, kind of further my teaching skills.
How has teaching then affected you as an artist, did you say?
It certainly broadened my horizons as to different kinds of music, because some people want to make like country hyperpop, some people want to make like dark ambient, some people want to make, like the hardest riddim you can imagine. So I was just like having to, learn all these different genres because I needed to teach what people were interested in. And so just when I sit down to make beats on my own, all that stuff just kind of commingles in my head. And so that's why I like hopping around genres so much, because it's just so much fun. you know, having all these different influences and production techniques from across the board.
That explains so much.
Yeah.
Because I feel like you've hit hyperpop. We were just talking about your shoegaze future. Not to pre-drop
Big
that.
things coming.
Big things coming. And then also, you know, you did the Crush Plus Plus collab that I would say is maybe more post-hardcore.
Yeah. I actually got to see them live like last week. They came through to Portland and we got to hang out, and that was amazing.
Rad. Yeah. Did they play the remix?
You know, I actually got there late.
Oh,
because originally I was gonna get up there and like press play on the laptop or whatever, as I normally do, because they opened with all their sets with that remix, but I was late. I didn't think they would go on first. Yeah, they were great. I caught the rest of their set, and I think we're gonna work more together on some like original as opposed to just a remix. So I'm excited.
Sweet. Okay.
Yeah.
You keep on joking about just walking up and pressing play.
Right.
I know you're the opposite of that. I know you do the most with your live sets.
Sometimes.
What can you talk a little bit about like how you do approach live sets? Because I know you had a tutorial talking about it. And like, just share a little bit.
Yeah, so I mean, most of the time it's just like a DJ set. I joke about pressing play, but yeah, you know, that's like how a lot of most EDM and electronic artists perform. It's usually a DJ set, which is great. But if I want to get a little bit more involved,
no hate,
no shade. I mean, you know, I joke, but at the end of the day, it's like a lot of the people in the crowd don't really care or understand what you're doing up there. They just need to see a human being doing something. Yeah. And so whether that's pressing play or, you know, triggering live looping in Ableton with like a keyboard and crazy modular rig, like a lot of people just don't give a shit. So it's really more about me and having fun on stage and expressing myself that way. But when I do perform live, I have a keyboard, I have like a little drum pad, I have Ableton running, and I just basically stem out a lot of my songs. I have backing tracks, and then I try to play as much as I physically can with the keyboard and with, you know, some finger drumming.
Wow.
So that's kind of the vibe.
Damn.
Yeah.
You play no games. That's like doing absolutely the most.
I try to, yeah. I mean, that's what me and Scro did for our live set last year. But since then, I mean, I've just been doing DJ sets, and I have a ton of fun doing that as well. So it really just depends.
How does it feel doing the DJ set performances? Because I know you said people don't give a damn, and that's what I worry about is like, does it make a difference? Like when you're in the moment, vibing out on stage, and you have more of that control with the keyboard, with like the finger drums, all of that.
Right.
Versus the DJ set, do you feel like a difference in how the crowd interaction?
I mean, I think it really depends on the venue. You know, if it's like a massive stage with like crazy lights, insane sound, you know, and you can't even really see what the person is doing beyond, you know, past the chest or the desk or the DJ booth or whatever. It really doesn't matter what you're doing up there, right? The lights and the sound are just the show enough. But if we're talking like an intimate venue, you know, where you can see what the person is doing up there, it's not going to be very entertaining to just watch a guy press play and, you know, jump around a little bit. You know, having sort of that live aspect, I feel, is just like a lot more engaging. Yeah. You know, even going to see Crush Plus Plus play last week, and, you know, actual bands playing actual music with real instruments and singing and all that. I mean, that's the kind of show I want to see personally. So that's what I try to bring to my sets, if it makes sense.
Yeah, 100%, especially that genre. And I've noticed that now, especially with a lot of like hyper pop shows I go to, it's so electronic a lot of times that all you do get is like people jumping around in front of a computer, and it's like you gotta be doing some crazy jumping around to make that fill a stage, you know? It's like one person, it's like you're at the show, you're like, oh, it's a little...
Like when they're singing over their exact vocal tracks, so they don't even bother taking that out.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
kind of a vibe, honestly.
I went to one recently though where they had a fire dancer, and I was like,
Oh,
"That's
shit.
smart." Like it wasn't even related to the artist at all. It was just like a fire dancer.
Let's go.
I'm like, that fills it out.
Yeah,
Like hit
for
play,
sure.
bring the dancer.
I gotta
It's
bring
good.
some fire dancers next set.
Okay, I think we kind of skipped over this a little bit, but I really want to go back. I didn't realize Underbelly, so that's your artist name,
That's right.
was kind of a character. Started out as a
Yes.
sort of jokey character.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I made music as Underbelly before I started the channel. But yeah, I would say that's like the main character on my channel. And then, yeah, more recently, I've expanded to Kelly, to Brent Chambers, and more to come.
More to come.
Yeah.
Oh snap.
Yeah.
Why do you think Underbelly, the very sarcastic version of yourself, why is that the artist face?
Oh, I mean, for no other reason that it's just been the main person, I guess, the longest time. I mean, you know, I've debated having like a separate artist name or character name for my music compared to the channel or whatever, but honestly, I think it all can work together, and I don't want to sort of like have like 20 different aliases if I don't have to. But it's interesting, you know, some people when they meet me in real life, they're like, wow, you're like an actual human being, you know? You're like 3D. You don't say wowzers every 3 seconds. Like,
I'm disappointed about that, to be honest.
I know. It's like very strange for people
Yeah.
to just see like this person on the internet and think that's all they are. But, you know, I have fun with it, and, you know, I like doing the character. It's just more interesting for me than to just do a super dry by the books tutorial, you know.
That makes your videos so much easier to get through than a lot of other videos. Where
Hell
it's
yeah.
just like toggling serum for a 2-hour video. I'm like, oh my God.
Right.
You mentioned when people meet you in person, you know, they're surprised that you're a real person.
Yes.
And you have this huge online community. I mean, like tens of thousands, if not more, in the Discord chat. I think the Discord chat's massive. How has the online community kind of shaped you as an artist, you feel?
I wouldn't say it's shaped me all that much. I mean, I still make the music I want to make, and that's that. But it's really nice, you know, seeing the community come together. Like, I mean, I didn't really build it. I just fucking put up the Discord, and then people took it upon themselves to make like all the sub channels, all the bots, all the challenges, like Feedback Friday. Like none of that was me. That was all people just coming together and building something out of themselves. Yeah. And so, yeah, I might, you know, do a live stream, or I might roast people's tracks or whatever, but the Discord is almost like a self-contained entity, you know. It's crazy.
Amazing. That is so sweet. I
Yeah.
had no idea. It's like such a complex.
Yeah, I'm
sort
too
of
dumb to
village.
put that together.
Wow, okay. So the community maybe hasn't affected you as an artist so much, but I wonder, you being both Underbelly as an artist and you suck at producing,
Right.
how is that, you know, sometimes someone might be, like an actor might be sort of sick of being known for a
That's
movie.
right.
Do you ever feel like as an artist, you're ever sick of being known as you suck at producing? Do you ever find there's sort of tension between you as an artist and you as sort of a teacher and YouTuber?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I've been wanting to break out of this silly YouTube tutorial guy box for quite some time now. With my latest release, Get Too Close, I did a whole music video for it. And I think doing like that really helps, because it helps people see you outside of the usual context of sitting in front of Ableton.
Yeah.
But still, you know, seeing my face, sing and do stuff. So I definitely want to do more music videos like that. You know, some serious, some silly, but yeah, just having people see me outside of in an educational context, and more just like, this is my art, here you go, context.
That
Yeah.
makes sense. You mentioned the Get Too Close music video. That was sick.
Thank
and
you.
I loved seeing the behind the scenes because I was like, this looks so awesome.
Yeah.
But then you shared a little bit about like,
Yeah.
it's not how some of those shots were
Right.
created.
Yeah.
How was the experience shooting? Was that your first music video?
First real music video, yeah.
Shot professionally? How was
Yeah.
that experience?
It was sick. I mean, the guy Austin, shout out to him. He put together something really, really special. Very shoestring budget. And you know, we just shot it at like this studio for like a few hours, and it was just him and one other camera guy. And you know, as I showed in the behind the scenes, a lot of the crazy trippy lights are just literally him just moving around this LED bar around my face while we were getting a shot. And you know, out of that and his like insane editing skills, he, you know, added all these like crazy effects and glitches and like, you know, even though the video is quite basic, it's just me and a very blank background. I think it stays engaging because of all the crazy effects and shit that he added. So yeah, I was really happy with how it turned out.
That's awesome. It looks super pro.
Thank you.
Looks super pro. Although I
yeah.
have to say, what was the previous music video that you created? Which music?
Well, we did a video with Scro. Oh, Let's Ride.
Yes.
Let's Ride, yes. Yeah.
That
was definitely
great.
more in the Tim and Eric realm. That was about as good as I can do a music video.
That was really impressive.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
That was amazing. I can see the Tim and Eric influence.
Definitely.
For sure.
Definitely.
You did kind of a walkthrough of how you made Get Too Close, as well as the music video. You showed some behind the scenes. But I think one sort of behind the scenes that really resonated was for the Crush Plus Plus remix, because I think all producers can relate very deeply to picking things up again and again and again and just never getting it across the finish line.
Yep.
What can you share a little bit about, for folks that, you know, haven't watched, how you did morale-wise and technique-wise get it across the finish line?
Yeah, I mean, it's just the nature of it. Some songs you can knock out in an hour and it's amazing. Some songs take months or even years and a bajillion different versions and iterations to get done. So like with that specific remix, it went through so many different versions. You know, I tried singing on it. I tried writing lyrics for it. That didn't go so well. And then I made a version of, when Crush Plus Plus hit me up, I made a version of their song that was like kind of shoegazy, as we talked about. And they were like, we could have just done that. You know, we wanted hyperpop. That's why we hit you up. And I was like, oh, now I have to make a whole new remix. But then I was like, let me just repurpose this song that I wrote terrible lyrics for and just cut the lyrics and just put their vocals over it. And I was like, wow, this is so much better than I could have ever imagined. And they loved it. And so sometimes it just takes time and just, you know, songs just sitting on your hard drive for a while for that perfect opportunity to really work. And also it's just, you know, most songs just don't deserve to get finished, and that's okay. So I just kind of wanted to show that, because a lot of people struggle with, you know, not finishing tracks or just sitting on tracks. And yeah, I think it's a really common problem.
Yeah, I feel like that video though made me want to give other tracks I'm sleeping on another chance.
For sure.
Like you just said, like you tried so many avenues with it. And when you have that little nugget that you're like, oh, this is so good, it's hard to
let go. Yeah,
totally let go.
For sure.
So you have, obviously are known as like a YouTuber, a teacher, an artist, and with your main passion being as an artist, how have those things like YouTubing and teaching, how have those provided you opportunities as an artist?
Right. Well, I mean, big reason why I leaned into You Suck at Producing so hard, especially at the beginning, is it just like popped off way more than my music ever did. So I'm just, you know, I saw the numbers on my videos versus my music, and I was like, damn, people are finding a lot more value in this right now. And I enjoyed doing it. But like I said, I also wanted to, you know, support myself, make money, all that. So that was another reason why I leaned into it. It's just, it's really hard making music as a living. And there's like, you know, what is a traditional artist career anymore? If you can't, I mean, most people can't make a living off of royalties, right? Most people can't, like, you know, like people have to get creative with all these different avenues and revenue streams to support themselves as being artists. And so for me, a lot of that was teaching and sort of doing the videos and all that. But you know, through that, I've made so many connections with artists and with people I've collabed with and other musicians that I've worked with over the years. So that's been really, really great for me. But I would say any advice there would be, you know, if you're just starting out, don't be closed-minded as to, you know, I want to be like this traditional artist route. I want to do this, that, and the other thing, like this, my favorite artist, because what worked for them may not work for you, and vice versa. Like, you know, back in 2013, when I started the channel, YouTube was a way less saturated environment for tutorials. So that was like a huge reason why I came up. It was just like there weren't that many other channels at the time. And so with social media, with all these different platforms coming and going, there's always these different opportunities that can arise for new artists trying to break through. Probably these days it's going to be like short form Instagram Reels, TikTok, Shorts, shit like that. But who knows what is going to be next. So, yeah.
Yeah.
The big one was like working with Ableton, you know, getting flown out to Berlin to shoot a video with them. And, you know, I've worked with them for many years now. I do a lot of their content. And it's just been really great having that sort of relationship with basically the company that got me into making music, right? Like, I wouldn't be here without them. Yeah, so that's been really great. And then, you know, through my channel, I've gotten label releases. I've worked with people like Scro, San Holo, you know, Mr. Bill, like that. So it's been really great.
What's the Ableton collaboration?
Oh, it's just like a video that I put out, you know, a few years ago. It's just called, if you search like Learning Live or something like that, you will see me in the Ableton Berlin offices.
Damn.
Dropping some knowledge. But, you know, I've made many, like, often when they put out like an update or a new, you know, version of Live, I'm behind doing like a lot of the reels, the content, sort of breaking down some of the new features and stuff like that.
Are there any collaborations that you're currently working on or things incoming that you're excited about?
Well, my song with San Holo is going to come out on May 30th.
Yo, that's crazy. What
Yeah.
is that?
Wholesome Riddim.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's the song name?
It's
or
called,
is it a whole
well, he's
vibe?
dropping an EP called Wholesome Riddim, and our song is called Intro to Wholesome Riddim.
That's so awesome. That's very San Holo.
Yeah.
Wholesome rhythm. Wow, I love
Yeah.
that. This is a movement. This is
I
like
know,
the
yeah,
start
it's
of a
a
wave.
revolution, basically. We're trying to take rhythm back.
I love that.
Yeah.
From the, what are the,
From like the f***ing metalhead goat sacrificing, you know,
Right.
crazy ass wooks, and
I
you know,
know.
trying to make it a feel good movement.
That's
you know?
actually very exciting.
Yeah.
I feel like San Holo's concerts have a great vibe, and a lot of
Excellent
rhythm
vibe.
shows. I'm like, why is it this way? Like, don't they know we're a lot of people here are tripping? You know?
Right.
Awesome. How did that collaboration
Yeah.
sort of materialize?
So I put out an EP on Bitbird in 2023.
Awesome.
San reached out to me for that because I had dropped some rhythm songs before then, and I think he liked it. But through him, I met Scro, and we put a show together in LA last year. San came through, and after my set, he would like text me. He was like, "What's this song that I played?" And it wasn't my song. It was just like some rhythm song that I played by an artist named Sharks. And I was like, "Oh, it's that." And he was like, "Oh, this is so sick. Like, I want to make rhythm. I want to make this shit." And I'm like, "Cool, let's do it." You know, it's
San hit you up to make rhythm.
Exactly. And I'm like,
Whoa.
it's not that hard. You put the kick on the 1, snare on the 3, get some crazy whomps in there, and then you're good to go. So yeah, I sent him some ideas, and he had some ideas of his own, and we sort of worked back and forth over about a year, and that's kind of how Intro to Wholesome Riddim came to be.
That's so
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
So then, kind of going back a little bit. So you
Yes.
have both Underbelly and you suck at producing.
Mm-hmm.
How do you stay motivated in
Mm.
both sort of the job aspect and the music, the sort of artistic side of things?
I mean, I find it a lot easier to stay motivated these days because I have momentum. But back in the day when I wasn't, nobody gave a shit about my music or my videos or any of that. And I also was earlier on in my producing ability, trying to learn new shit. It was definitely harder to stay motivated because, you just come up against these blocks where you're like, oh, I really want to make this sound, or I really want to make this genre, and I just don't know how to do it. And I'm just getting stuck and in these loops and all that. So a lot of it was just like doing little challenges for myself. Like in high school and senior year, I made a beat every day for a year, and I posted it every day.
That's crazy.
And then in 2018, I really wanted the channel pop off, so I did a similar thing where I had to put out a video every week, or I would basically find myself. Like I would like deduct money from my bank account and like donate it to some like horrible charity like NRA or some shit if I didn't if I didn't post a video. So yeah, I mean, motivation comes and goes, but having these like external pressures on yourself can be really helpful. And these days, yeah, I just have so much shit I have to do that like it doesn't matter if I'm motivated or not. I just have to keep going. But also just like I'm very inspired, like I'm trying to learn how to sing, trying to learn how to play guitar, working with all these amazing artists, all this new music coming out that's just super inspiring, crazy, and different. So there's no shortage of ideas. It's just a matter of finding the time and the energy to sit down and do it.
Yeah, with that, is there sort of a tension between the teaching side and
Yeah.
the art creation side at this point? Because I'm sure both are demanding
Totally.
a lot of you.
Totally. Well, I mean, the teaching pays the bills, so you got to do that. And then, doing content for like Ableton and other companies, you got to do that too. And making reels and TikToks and stuff like that, you got to do that. So yeah, I mean, honestly, it is sometimes hard to find the time to actually sit down and make music, but that's the core of all of this. If I lose that, then all the other just falls out the wayside. So yeah, despite the financial and career incentives to do all the other stuff, still got to make time to do music. Actually, every Friday night, basically, I just go over to my friend's house and we just make really terrible, silly music, just about really dumb shit. Just like crazy singing into the mic and just like horrible hyperpop stuff. Like it just like, we put so much pressure on ourselves doing all this shit. So it's really nice to just have that release where you just have fun and you don't need to release, anything or make a sick video. You're just having fun making music with your friends,
Awesome. Well, we're very happy that Underbelly, you still do find time to release under Underbelly, and I can tell there's a lot of momentum and things coming up. Do you have any master plans coming up for either Underbelly or you suck at producing?
More music videos, more songs. I'm also working on an AI co-pilot for Ableton. It's called Conductor, and it's basically like kind of like a chat interface with an assistant that helps you make beats.
That sounds diabolical and fantastic.
Yes.
I'm going to prompt it horrible, horrible things.
Please, yeah.
That is so cool. Okay.
Thank you.
So beyond Underbelly, there's also
Yeah.
huge changes. Okay. Well, amazing. Thank you so much for coming by.
Thanks for having me.
And thanks for sharing your story.
Appreciate it.
Fiending for that dopamine rush. All I need is just one touch to open up all the floodgates. Watch as my pupils dilate. Stare at the sky as rain fills my throat till